And we're live. What's up, ladies and gents, boys and girls? Thank you for coming over to DFS 5-Pack one more time, where we're going to run through some of our MLB plays of the day. We are live with playoff basketball right now in what most people described as the most boring series, the Nets-Raptors. Not super entertaining so far, but those poor Nets are just so undermanned.
What's interesting, we haven't even gone over this yet. So I think how the playoffs are working out this year, like let's say that the Raptors and the Celtics sweep, like their series starts like right away, like both like right when those teams end, their series starts, even if the other series go way longer.
Bring on my NBA, man. I'm happy as hell to talk about it, guys. Speaking of which, go get your money in at an overlay. They got some MLB packages up, ready to roll. We broke down NBA earlier today. I'm digging the NBA playoffs, and never sleep on the Slump Buster Challenge, where if you don't finish in the money on 20 contests, they will refund all your money for you. And that progressive jackpot continues to grow on the MLB side. Now we're up over 5K.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting up there. Like soon enough, it'll be really up there unless someone takes it down, which would be even nicer.
Yeah, I find the MLB one, I think like that jackpot could grow for a while because it's hard to go 12-0 in MLB.
It's just so much more random.
Right. Not saying that it's easy to go 12-0 on basketball, because clearly it isn't, but you've been seeing really good records in the playoffs. All right, guys, all these passes available at the website. Don't forget, for limited time only, the NFL only package, which covers every slate that we do, playoffs, regular season, everything like that, is $80 right now. It's up on the website, down from $100. Day passes are up. Thank you guys for everything you do for us. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to it. Hit the bell for notifications. And if you don't mind, do what the Terminator or Chuck Norris would do and click the thumbs up button.
What about John Goodman?
Yeah, him too. I haven't seen The Big Lebowski enough, and I think his name's the dude, but I've only seen it once, and it was like a million years ago, so I couldn't think on my feet quick enough to say his name.
That's fair.
We'll just call him Dan Connor.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I like that.
All right, so we wanted to get away from what we usually do on pitching today, and we wanted to talk through the top two dogs of the day, which are a couple of young guns for MLB, Aaron Nola of the Philadelphia Phillies versus Walker Buehler. Talk through some of the advantages and disadvantages of each of them, why you might want to go in one direction. It is possible to pair them. It's very difficult, though. So, per industry guesses, I don't remember exactly who it is you use to get these guesses on. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. But you got Nola coming in around 21% and Buehler on 30%.
Yes. I just think that has to do with people don't really want to pick on Atlanta. Like they're much more apt to pick on Colorado on the road. Don't you agree?
They are. I mean, I'll bring this up for you. Two things about
I know
that. One pro and one pro and one con. Pro, Atlanta strikes out at a very, very high rate. They are one of the higher strikeout rate teams. K's are king on DraftKings. Bad. Acuna is eligible for return for tonight. So that team gets much scarier once you bring one of those young phenoms back in.
Okay. We talked about this last week. Like, is that bad, though? Like, is that bad for Nola? Because, go ahead.
I was just saying, it could be good for his upside if he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Acuna strikes out. He struck out a bunch this year. Now, it obviously hurts his floor because Acuna is really good. I personally like Buehler more because I think this is a great get-right spot for him, but he hasn't been great this year, and Nola's been fantastic. We both like Nola a lot. I think you can make really good cases for both of them. I know you prefer Nola, but I'm sure you can agree with that.
Well, in the long run, we were talking about this morning on members only, that if you interviewed 30 GMs, I said 29 of them would take Walker Buehler moving forward. You said like 22, 23, or whatever the number was. Whatever it is, we agree. More GMs would side with Walker Buehler. I think we know he's got future Cy Young written all over him. Not that Nola couldn't get one, but I think the peak, people project Walker Buehler to be the slightly better pitcher.
Yeah, I feel like Nola is like the level below that, but I could be dead wrong there. I view Nola in the same vein as like Sonny Gray.
That's tough because their careers are so different. I was more thinking you feel Nola about how you feel about Jack Flaherty, like really, really good, but not quite to that like going to be a Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander type of level. Whereas you feel Buehler he's got Max Scherzer potential.
He does, but honestly, like there's no reason to say that he's not as good as, or Flaherty's not as good as Buehler right now. I mean, arguably last year he was better.
And while I think if you asked me, I would side with the quote unquote experts and probably take Walker Buehler if it was my pick. But Atlanta, Man, that Acuna thing's big. Nola has been as good as they come outside of Baby Bieber so far this year. So it's hard for me to get away from what I've seen over the past month.
Yeah, looking at his numbers, the only guy that even comes to mind is Bieber, which is really impressive. So, like, we've seen Nola, so we know this is not going to last. But we know he's good. Like, it's not like this is some like just a random guy that's pitching well. Like, Nola is very good. So,
And that's clearly no slight on him saying this won't last, because I would say that about any pitcher in baseball, that 30 plus, 30 plus, 30 plus doesn't last forever.
yeah, like, okay, they're like, Lucas Giolito was on yesterday's slate. I'd take Nola over him. What about you?
Oh, for sure. That's an easy one.
Easy. Okay, agreed.
Definitely. So I guess that's where we stand today, guys. We wanted to talk this one out a little bit for everybody. I'm on Team Nola, you're on Team Bueller, but it's not like the other one doesn't see the other side of the argument. This isn't like a staunch Republican arguing with a staunch Democrat where you feel like your side is so right and you can't even listen to the other person. This is just me and you being like, I slightly prefer this guy, you slightly prefer this guy. And that's a point for Bueller. I would rather pitch at home against Colorado than pitch on the road at Atlanta. That's just it's a better spot.
Yeah, exactly. I know Bueller's pitched well in this spot in past years, so I like him here, but I agree with you. And if you can get both of them, go wild.
Yeah, there are going to be some cheaper guys out there tonight, so it is possible. And we don't love any of the SP2s that are cheaper.
It's just hard to like win a GPP like that.
It is, no doubt about it, because you need double dongs. You need a couple of those or something like that, or some guy steals 3 bases or whatever it might be.
It can happen for sure. I mean, if both the pitchers pitch real well and your one-offs like do really well, obviously it can happen. It's a tough route to go because pitching usually doesn't win tournaments.
And then another point that I wanted to bring up as far as the 21 versus 30%, I don't know what your thoughts on there is. Say these numbers are true. Again, obviously it won't be exactly right, but are these numbers usually pretty accurate for you?
Yes, and I think it's negligible, just like the price.
Yeah, exactly. I think you play who you want.
Yeah.
There's not a big enough discrepancy there. We got to go Bueller and cash and Nolan GPP guys. 30 and 21 are close enough. You play who you like.
Yeah, agreed, 100%.
All right, next up, we want to talk about some offensive guys now. We don't see any like quote unquote crush, gotta have stacks tonight, but one team that gets a little attention from us, two specific guys. One of them going to be Jose Abreu as the Chicago White Sox. Now, we don't think Lester's garbage, but you believe him to be a lot of smoke and mirrors this year, very low batting average on balls in play, everything like that. So we're looking at Jose Abreu, who is a very, very affordable right now at 4,100. Since this guy has come into his career, we know like 3 things about him. He's going to hit 30 home runs. He's going to drive in 100 RBIs, and he's going to rake off of lefties. He's 8 of 21 off Lester and smoking hot right now with 8 of 14 with 4 extra base hits.
If I were playing like one optimal lineup tonight, he might be the first person I lock in. He's been like 5K plus recently, a lot. And like Lester we've talked about Lester, like he's a borderline Hall of Fame pitcher in his career, but he's not that guy anymore. And I'm not really looking to full stack the White Sox here, but they got a couple guys very appealing. I mean, Abreu crushes lefties. He looked very good this year. There's nothing not to like here.
Yeah, and again, being red hot the last 3 days doesn't mean he's going to continue today, but we'd rather take a guy. Baseball's different than other games like that because basketball, you don't play every day. Football, you play once a week. But in baseball, your confidence swings up and down. So I'd always rather have a guy who's 8 of 14 over his past 3 days with 4 extra base hits than the guys who are 0 of 14 with 7 strikeouts. It's not for sure, but it's definitely the bet I'd rather make.
Yeah, I'm with you all around.
All right. Moving down from there, you want to talk about Joey Gallo. So I'll touch on this game real briefly before you get into what you like about Gallo. We talked about this game for a long time on the members only video. We view this to be the wild card stack of the night. And what we mean by that is you get 2 very bad baseball teams here in Seattle and Texas, and 2 pitchers who have decent stuff but are still young and unproven. Like we see 1-0 or 22 to 10, is possibilities tonight. Or I was supposed to be 12 to 10. We're not really sure about this game. Like we either want to go all in on one side or just completely ignore it.
Yeah, like if I found out that both offenses are getting a lot of love here, man, I love the leverage of going to both pitchers. However, I just highly doubt that's the case. And Texas, I think, is in a good spot tonight against Margevicius, who's been okay this year, but he's not very good. We've seen him in years past. He got hit around big time last year. Gallo's very affordable at 4,500. Crushes lefties, and I think his ownership is lower because Margevicius is a lefty. No problem with that at all. I mean, I like him if you're stacking the Rangers. I like him as a one-off. I mean, huge tournament upside for sure.
And when we talk about crushing lefties, we like to refine that crushing lefties by left-handed hitting standards. This is not like one of those righties with the major splits like a Ryan Braun, Jose Abreu, et cetera, et cetera. However, what it always does is keeps his ownership down. And there are left-handed hitters like Gallo who are perfectly fine to use against lefties, but because people don't often look into these numbers, they just go with the safe assumption that lefties are better against righties and righties are better against lefties, which is a very easy, safe assumption to make. It's true way more times than it's not.
Yes, agreed. And it's not like, oh, we'd rather have Gallo face a lefty, but it's really almost negligible, but it will really Okay, I'll put it like this. The amount it lowers his ownership is way bigger than like how it really affects him.
Amen. All right, next up. All right, I want to talk about Anthony Rendon of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim at 5,300. So I think to be like just the most simplistic breakdown, look at his game log. I mean, all this guy does is put up double-digit games, and it's not even the peaks and valleys of like a Franmil Reyes, like a guy that I like, but like this guy just finds a way to participate every single day. You know, he gets the advantage of batting right behind Mike Trout. So there's often, you know, a fast guy in base in front of him. He's an excellent professional hitter. And we look at this game as the Angels being a little bit of a sleeper stack. I'm assuming they don't get a ton of love, maybe some, but because they're a West Coast team who drops their lineup late, they never seem to be super chalky unless it's like a shorter day slate. Rendon's really good. Fires has allowed 9 earned runs in 7.2 innings against the Angels. This will be his third time facing them. And when he's missing, he gives up home runs. And we all know that in DK, home run is king.
Yeah, I like this call a lot. I also think his ownership is lower because he's expensive, man. We talked about that in our members only video. The Angels are in one of the better spots for upside because if Fears is off, he gives up home runs. I mean, their two best hitters are, you know, obvious in Trout and Rendon. I mean, one of the best like combo hitters in baseball. Maybe the best, probably the best right now.
Pretty sure their best combo though is Pujols Upton.
Yeah, right. Wow, that's literally one of the worst. That's so funny. Literally one of the worst, I think. But
what I meant by best is most overpaid.
I can't think of a combo that's better than Rendon and Trout when Rendon is like hitting well like this.
That's Bellinger.
Maybe, but like, yeah, I mean, those are good. I wouldn't like say you're crazy to say that, but I think I would have Rendon and Trout at the top because I think Rendon is on those level like of Betts and Bellinger.
So my same argument for Rendon against Rendon would be the argument that you use for Trout. You give Trout so much credit for the longevity and the consistency. Rendon really only has 1 year of greatness. Now he's showing it again this year. I just think they're comparable. Like Betts and Bellinger are both recent MVPs. I would probably also take Trout and Rendon, but I think for me it's super close.
Okay, yeah, I get that. And that is fair. It's not like Rendon was a scrub before that, though.
No, he was good, but last year he was great.
He was never like an MVP candidate type.
Not till last year, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you there.
Okay. All right. So we'll keep moving on the down list of them there. And it's important to notice Fires gives up home runs. Like I can remember this from his days on the Brewers. He has an interesting pitching style where he throws a fastball high, which is not with enough speed, but he has that big hook that caused people to, it looks faster, but when he's missing, you know, people hit it a long way off him.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go right back to the well, talk about a guy, Jesse Winker, a.k.a. Jesse Winker, very affordable. He's having a super season. And I know for you overall, you just kind of like the Reds tonight.
I like the Reds. But even if you don't like the Reds like I do, I mean, how do you not like Winker here? One of the hottest hitters in baseball, you know, right there with our boy Santander, Grichuk, Winker. Those are the guys right now. I mean, he's in a good spot against Dakota Hudson, who, you know, doesn't strike out a lot of guys, prone to left-handed trouble, you know, trouble from guys who hit lefty. Again, you want the Nola and Buehler build. You're going to need a couple, you know, price down guys, and Winker fits that build. So there's a lot to like on him in any single format, any type of roster construction.
So you talked about like winning tournaments with two high-priced pitchers like that. It's tough because you don't get like the upside. Like Winker has upside like the good hitters. Like you can see what he's done so far this year. It's just we know this won't continue. And you still, even though like his numbers are better than Yelich this year, like you still would never, you don't want to make the bet on Winker over Yelich, but you can get him at 1,500 less.
Also, like, yes, but like he'll also be popular, don't you think?
Yeah, and that's where I like the point that you made where like maybe you don't like a Cincy stack as much as you do. I don't. I don't like the Cincy stack as much as you do, but I'm completely on board with a guy like Winker because he fits into a cash lineup build. he's kind of like, I wouldn't call him a free square because he's not that cheap, but there's really good odds he could just go him in at relatively high ownership. And if he gets a 0, you can still win cash lineups with that. And if he double a run in an RBI, 9 points, it's just ho hum. It doesn't hurt or help.
Mm-hmm.
So works. Thought we'd bring him up again. Occasionally you got to repeat because sometimes guys just make sense 2 days in a row.
Amen.
All right, guys. Have a great Friday, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you.